year at UUCC. You will find it in the November newsletter. It'll help us plan for how best to hold all our spiritual needs and observances throughout the year. Today is the last day for early voting in New York State. See your county's Board of Election website for times and locations, or make a plan to vote on Tuesday. Next week will be our second Sunday potluck after the service. We invite you to bring a dish to share, but even if you forget, you are welcome to stay. We always have enough for everyone. Our church book club, A Psalm for the Wild Built, has been rescheduled. Join us for a common read book discussion on December 5th from 6 to 7:30. We'll gather on Zoom and eat dinner together while we discuss A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. The book is available online or at your local library. Please sign up via the link in the newsletter so we know how many folks will be coming. Are there any other announcements for the good of the community? Karen?
I just want to remind everyone that we will have our monthly board meeting on Tuesday at 7 o'clock on Zoom. The Zoom link is usually in the newsletter, and if you have anything that you would like the board to discuss, please reach out to me after the service today. Thank you.
And just an update on the climate justice revival work. We summarized the information that was on the posters. You can see the posters are gone. And at our next Social Environmental Justice Sunday, we'll be asking the community to work with us on deciding what we're going to be targeting for the next year and maybe the next 5 years. So please come.
Anyone else? Okay. As we prepare to be fully together, I remind you to silence your phones and devices. We now enter a space of worship. Now is the time to bring forward any joys or sorrows. We also invite you to come forward to drop a pebble in the water if you have a joy or sorrow that you prefer not to share. Now is the time to light the chalice. Would you like to help Isabel? Today, Isabel is lighting our chalice. She's 11. Her favorite color is pink, pastel pink. Thank you. Fun fact, she likes rubber ducks. I invite you to join with me in our chalice lighting words as the flame is lit. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If you came here this morning expecting to see the Reverend Dick Gilbert, I congratulate you for being one of the people who reads our weekly announcements very closely, and I have an explanation. Back in August, Dick Gilbert was gracious enough to offer several dates that he would be willing to come preach, and I figured out the little bit of Tetris that has to happen with filling the different dates in the different months, penciled him in for today's date, and then told everybody that he was coming except for him. So we hope to reschedule for some time in the spring. And I have to thank Eileen for helping come up with a backup plan for this Sunday. But it seems especially fitting because no matter what happens on Tuesday, we find ourselves in a time where community, even if imperfect, will give us the strength to move forward. The first reading for today are some words by Monica Jacobson Tennyson. What is it that calls you here, that calls you onward, that calls you inward, that leads you homeward? What is it that gives you the power to make that change, to ask that question, to take that journey? What is it that says that you have done well, that asks you to learn more, that brings you to stillness, that holds you up in hard times? It is relationship, the beating heart of our faith. It begins when we share this hour, our truths, this air, our hearts. Come, let us worship together. Please rise in body or in spirit and join in our first hymn, number 318 in the gray hymnal, We Would Be One. So now it's time for a story. If there's anyone who would like to come closer and sit up front, now is the time, or you can stay where you are, wherever you're comfortable. This is The Mouse and Crow, adapted from Aesop's Fables by Kelly Weissman Aspruth Jackson. There was once a crow who was very hungry. Flying over the tops of the trees, it spotted a large, tasty-looking walnut growing from one of the tallest branches below. Seeing the makings of a fine supper, the crow swooped down and plucked the dangling walnut and held it triumphantly in its beak. The crow flapped its wings happily and began to think about how best to break open the shell of the walnut. Meanwhile, on the ground below, an equally hungry mouse saw everything that happened and decided it wanted that same walnut for itself. With a plan that was clever, though not particularly nice, the mouse called up to the crow high in the tree. "Say there, friend crow, what's that you have in your beak?" The crow, who was hungry enough by now it wasn't thinking all of its decisions through, called back, "I've found a very nice walnut, and I'm going to eat it." When the crow opened its mouth to say all that, the walnut fell out of it and dropped to the ground, just as the mouse had hoped it would. But the mouse didn't count on where the walnut would land when it fell. It hit the ground and rolled into a shallow hole. The mouse ran to the hole and reached in to pull out the walnut so it could crack the shell and eat it. But the hole was just small enough that the mouse could not pull it out. With both its paws wrapped around, the walnut was too wide to get back out of the hole. The crow, meanwhile, was unhappy at having been tricked out of its supper and began to shout at the mouse down below, who couldn't leave because it was still holding on to the walnut, trying and failing to pull it back out of the hole in the ground. Now, if the two of them had worked together, they might have gotten to enjoy some of that walnut. The crow could have pecked its sharp beak down into the hole and broken the walnut into smaller pieces. Then the mouse could have reached in there and picked each piece out one at a time. But instead, the two of them were stuck there, arguing with each other and both still very hungry. The mouse because it couldn't let go, and the crow because it couldn't hold on.
Now is the time in our service to join together in the spiritual practice of generosity. Our gifts of both time and money support our church in its work. Each week, we would like to spotlight a group or committee and thank them for their gift of time. This week, the group is social media. I'm not sure if any of you check our Facebook or Instagram sites, but recently there have been a lot more pictures and just reconnecting the community with all of the activities that we do here, and it's looking great. Anyone that would be interested in finding out more or helping with that group can contact Erin Waller. 1/4 of our plate collection for the darkness season will go to our service partner, but we need your help to figure out who that will be. During the last meeting of the Social and Environmental Justice Committee, we worked to combine the information we gathered during the Climate Justice Revival to make a plan to guide our efforts during this church year and beyond. Please take some time to look at the lists on the table at the back of the room and think about which paths call to you the loudest. Join us on our next Justice Sunday, November 24th, after the service to help make sure that our justice efforts reflect the passions of our congregation. You can give to this morning's offering by placing cash or a check into the basket or by one of the options on your screen. Please make a note that your gift is intended for today's offering. We now gratefully accept the offering.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings
there are no joys or sorrows in the basket, but I will drop a stone for those and for the joys and sorrows left in the silence of our hearts today. Whatever is in your heart, we are with you.
This would be the time for anyone who's going to RE. Get down with Kaya and with Nancy. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of all surround you everywhere, everywhere you may. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of all surround you everywhere, everywhere
The second reading is White Wings Escape, adapted from the Panchatantra by Arthur W. Ryder. The story begins when a hunter sets a giant snare in a spreading banyan tree and scatters grain to catch the attention of birds. White Wing, a ringdove king, and his flock notice the rice grains from high in the sky. They swoop downward and, alas, are soon trapped in the hunter's net. As the hunter gleefully approaches the birds with his club, they realize their desperate plight. White Wing says to the ringdoves, "We must not panic, my friends. There is a way to escape from this terrible fate, but we must all agree to work together. The net is too large and too heavy for any one of us to lift. But if we all fly upward at the same time, I'm sure we can lift the snare and carry it away." The other ringdoves quickly agree. When White Wing gives his signal, the birds all fly upward at the same moment. They lift the snare and create what looks to the hunter, who watches in amazement, like a flying net rising on its own and vanishing into the sky. Let us take a few moments now to sink into our seats. Find the supportive earth beneath your feet. Let your eyes fall closed and your breath be slow. Let that breath guide you into stillness. Maybe you remember a time when you could have worked alone against someone, but chose to work together instead. Let us sit with that thought in silence now. Trust the People by Adrienne Marie Brown. Trust the people who move toward you and already feel like home. Trust the people who let you rest. Trust the people to do everything better than you could have imagined. Trust the people and they become trustworthy. Trust the people are doing their work to trust themselves. Trust that each breach of trust can deepen trust or clarify boundaries. Trust the people who revel in pleasure after hard work. Trust the people who let children teach, remind us how to emote, be still, and laugh. Trust the people who see and hold your heart. Trust the people who listen to the whales. Trust the people, and you will become trustworthy. Trust the people and show them your love. Trust the people. Our next reading is an excerpt from Emergent Strategy by Adrienne Marie Brown. My favorite life forms right now are dandelions and mushrooms. The resilience in these structures, which we think of as weeds and fungi, the incomprehensible scale, the clarity of identity, excites me. I love to see the way mushrooms can take substances we think of as toxic and process them as food, or that dandelions spread not only themselves, but their community structure, manifesting their essential qualities, which include healing and detoxifying the human body, to proliferate and thrive in a new environment. The resilience of these life forms is that they evolve while maintaining core practices that ensure their survival. A mushroom is a toxin transformer. A dandelion is a community of healers waiting to spread. What are we as humans? What is our function in the universe? One thing I have observed: when we are engaged in acts of love, we humans are at our best and most resilient. The love in romance that makes us want to be better people, the love of children that makes us change our whole lives to meet their needs, the love of family that makes us drop everything to care for them, the love of community that makes us work tirelessly with broken hearts. Perhaps humans' core function is love. Love leads us to observe in a much deeper way than any other emotion. If love were the central practice of a new generation of organizers and spiritual leaders, it would have a massive impact on what was considered organizing. If the goal was to increase the love rather than winning or dominating a constant opponent, I think we could actually imagine liberation from constant oppression. We would suddenly be seeing everything we do, everyone we meet, not through the tactical eyes of war, but through eyes of love. We would see that there's no such thing as a blank canvas, an empty land, or a new idea. But everywhere there is complex, ancient, fertile ground full of potential.
Love knocks and waits for us to hear, to open and invite. Love longs to quiet every fear and seeks to set things right. Love knocks and enters at the sound of welcome from within. Love sings and dances all around.
I'd like to share with you some words of benediction by Anya Samler Michael. I put my faith in you. I put my faith in you, and I pray you will put your faith in me. We need one another now, because we will not make it alone. Please rise in body or in spirit to join in our closing hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us. And you should be able to find on your chair or nearby a sheet that has all 6 of the verses Bill has planned for this morning.
Love will guide us, peace and stride us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the dark night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. You are like no other being. What you can give, no other can give to the future of our precious children, to the future of the world where we live. Hear the song of peace within you. Hear the song of peace in your heart. Brings new beginning, shall lead to the harvest. Love will guide us to make a new start. See the light of hope within you. Let it glow in your work and your play. Your inner song sings all around you. Let it guide you on your way. Share the song and share the silence. Share the shade and share the light with every friend, foe, neighbor and stranger on your journey through this life. Love will guide us, peace is tried us, hope inside us, filling the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the dark night. Love will guide us through the dark night.
I hope you've been following this chalice. It just went out and this flume of smoke has been beautiful. But I will formally extinguish the flame. Please join me. Oh wait, if you are with us on Zoom today and would like to wave goodbye at the end of the service, you can turn on your camera now. Please join me in our words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.